Welcome back to the series. In the last video, I showed you how to do CRUD operation, create, read, update, and delete on posts. This time we're going to do custom post type, category, and user. So let's start with custom post type. Let's go to the code. We've already went over this last time, but the most important thing we're importing here is the WP API. And in here, we're instantiating the API with an WP object, which is something we are going to be calling here just to read our custom posts. So basically, with the route, we'll recognize all the posts and stuff, but then just to enable the custom post route, which is a flag in my case, I had to enable this line and bring in WP object and use WP.register_route, and this is our route WP/v2 and /flag, and this is just a regular expression to make sure that ID search works. Okay, so that being said, now we can just use this to bring all the flag posts. Before I check that out, let's go look in the back. This is our custom post type flag, and we have some posts here, and now we're going to go ahead and bring them in using WP API. This line right here, let's go do a refresh. There you go. It's giving us first 10, and if we go in and look at the type, it's a flag. It's no longer a post. That being said, let's move on to the next step. Disable this part. Let's try to create a brand new one. And this time we do wp.flag.create and provide it with the necessary arguments. We're giving it a title, content, and it does have an ACF item in it. Let's go check that out. Okay, if I open this up, right here we see our custom post type has a ACF item called name, and if we look in the back in our custom fields or ACF, we actually find it right here. And the difference between the previous ACF versions and this one is that they actually gave us an option like this, show in REST API. This just happened recently with this version 5.11. And so far I have tested only the Advanced Custom Pro version. With this version, they actually integrated this custom fields with the REST API. Just by enabling this, we can now see it right here. See, this is the item. And just by providing this field ID here like this, we can actually insert it with a regular custom post. And that's what we're about to do. Let's do a refresh. All right, look at that. We have 1471 and we have an ACF, exactly what we put. This is our content, this is our title. Let's go back and let's refresh this. And right here is our 1471, the custom post. Go in, this is our content, title, and our ACF field is filled out. All right, now that we have inserted it, let's go try edit. Okay, we're back at the code. So let's just disable this part and bring in this update part. Save it. Here we're calling the WP object with the dot flag and with the ID filter. And we're targeting 1208. Let's see what 1208 gives us. This is our 1208, and this is our title. And let's go in. We have nothing here, right? So let's edit this guy, 1208, using this code. Let's refresh. And we have 1208. The new data. Let's make sure. This is our 1208. Let's refresh. Now we have a new title, and if we go in, we have our content, and our custom field is now filled up. Now we are left with one option, which is delete. Let's go check that out. Okay, let's disable this part and enable this, and let's see which one we can delete. Let's go back. All right, so let's grab this guy, 1207. Save. Let's go in, refresh, and it did. This is our 1207, and if we look at the status, it's trash. Let's go in. This is our 1207. We refresh. Now it's gone from here, but if we go to trash, this is our 1207 right here, and that gives us the full CRUD operation on a custom post type using WPAPI. Next, let's try categories. All right, so we're back at the code, and this time I have everything the way it was before, all the way down here, but in the middle everything got changed. This time I'm bringing in the categories using the WP object of the WP API. All right, so now that we have this WP.categories, let's go and see what our fetch post brings. Refresh. There you go. These are no longer posts. These are now categories. Taxonomy is a category, slug, the name, and in the back, these are our category list, and the first one is app dev, second one app dev set timeout, etc., etc., and that's exactly what we got. App dev set timeout, a app dev. All right, so we are hitting the target. Now let's go and see what we can do to create a brand new one. Disable that. Now enable this set. In here we are calling the same WP object dot categories, but dot create this time, and giving it the necessary arguments, name, description, and taxonomy is category. So let's go see what happens when we run this. Okay, let's refresh. All right, look at that. We just created our new category, which has the ID of 380. Let's go back here, refresh, and here's our category with an ID 380. And this is the description we set, and this is the title we set. All right, now let's take it a little bit farther. Okay, now let's disable this and try to create a subcategory. All right, so we're back at the code. We just created our new category. Now let's disable this and enable this so that we can create a subcategory of this one. And this category has an ID of 380, and that's what we're providing as a parent argument. Let's just make sure. Yes, this is the category and ID is 380. And let's go now, refresh this. Boom, there you go. Now it created a new category which has an ID of 383, but it is a subcategory of parent ID 380. Let's go check, refresh, and there you go. This is our subcategory we just created. All right. Okay, so now let's see if we can update our category. And this time we're running an update and we're providing an ID filter. Let's check what's our ID we're going to target this time. It's 383. That's our subcategory. This is the one we're going to edit. Okay. All right. Save it. And this is going to be our new text. Everywhere we added updated, right? Now let's go fresh. All right, look, it got our new text. Let's check here, refresh, and and we just updated our subcategory. It is a delete time. Okay, disable this part. And here is something that the documentation never tells you. It's a simple delete, WP category, an ID, and delete, right? So let's target something. Let's target 380, this one. If we delete this, it is supposed to delete our entire block with the subcategories, right? Let's change it to 380. Save. Now let's go and refresh this. All right, and it fails. And nowhere in the documentation it is mentioned anywhere about this. They simply put like, oh, you keep following the API, it's gonna work. So I did some investigating and I had to consult the WordPress REST API handbook for this. And this actually tells you it has to be forced to true because terms, which is taxonomies or categories, do not support trashing because they don't have any trash bin. They just disappear once you delete them, right? So after multiple tries, what I did, I just took this part and added into this. I mean, you would think the documentation should say something like that, but they didn't. And now, try again. Boom, there you go, delete it. Successful. And let's go here, refresh, it's all gone. So we now just completed the full CRUD operation on categories. Next up, users. All right, so this time we're gonna be dealing with the users and we're gonna see how the CRUD operation works using the WP API. Let's go to the code. All right, so we're back at the code and this time I've changed my code here. With the fetch post, I'm just bringing in the users, wp.users, and let's see how that works. Refresh. There you go. It just gave us our 2 users back. All right, so next, let's try to create a new one. Disable this, enable this guy right here, save it, and here we're doing the usual wp.users.create and all the arguments, including the password, right? And a role. These are the significant ones. So that being said, let's try it. Refresh. All right, there you go. We have a new user. Let's check the backend. Refresh, and we have our user. Now let's try to edit this guy. Okay, let's disable. All right, and this time we are going to use the wp.users, the ID filter, and .update and the usual arguments. But here we're going to make some changes. Let's say we had this name different. We're going to change it a little bit here. Let's say we put 123 first name. 123 is just an example, right? And let's remove, or let's say it's just Hotmail, right? Hotmail, and we're adding one extra user role. Used to be editor, now we're adding author too, and the description should be edited, right? Edited, right? And even password, let's say add an extra 5 to it, save that. And I just need to make sure this ID is correct, which the one we are updating. Okay, here the new ID is 4, so let's change that ID to 4. Let's even change the name, add a 1 to it. Save, let's go, let's refresh. All right, we got a nice little message here. Username is not editable. So we learned something. Now we're going to change it back. Now let's refresh. There you go. We have all our new data in there. Let's go back, refresh. Our name has changed, email has changed. We have a new user row. Everything got edited successfully. Now let's try to delete this. All right, let's disable this. And once again, let me show you something. According to documentation, this is all they have, right? Our user ID is 4, save, and let's refresh. All right, so it blocks us. And this time it's telling us that missing parameter reassign. Nowhere in the documentation says anything like that. So when I looked into the REST API docs, this is what I found. It needs 2 parameters. Force has to be true, and reassign has to be, whatever ID you want to choose, but by default you should choose 1, because 1 will always be there, is the first admin, right? So let's disable this. I just added this to the delete function as an argument. Let's change this to 4. That's what we're trying to delete. Save, go back, and let's try to refresh. Boom, there you go. It deleted it successfully. And check the back, refresh, that user is gone. With that, we just performed the full CRUD operation on the users using the WP API. And this concludes this video. If you like this, please smash the like button, and please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please smash the like button and the subscribe button. This will help me bring more free contents like this to you every week. Thanks again.